Captain Lee Hyun was having his morning coffee when everything changed. The coffee was still hot in his hands when the alarm started screaming across the bridge of Earth's newest warship, the Seoul Pride. The sound was so loud that everyone stopped what they were doing and looked around with worried faces. Lieutenant Park Mina was the first to speak. She was sitting at the communications desk and her face had gone very pale. Captain, we are getting a transmission from outside our solar system. The signal is very strong, and very strangely Hyun put down his coffee cup and walked over to the main screen. He had been a captain for 15 years and had seen many strange things in space, but something about this felt different. Something about this felt dangerous. Show me the transmission, he said in a calm voice, even though his heart was beating very fast. The main screen flickered and then showed something that made everyone on the bridge gasp. A huge alien creature appeared on the screen. It was at least 8 feet tall and had 4 arms instead of 2. Its skin was dark purple and covered with strange markings. Its eyes glowed bright red like fire, and when it opened its mouth they could see rows of sharp teeth. The alien spoke in perfect English, but its voice sounded like metal scraping against stone. Primitive species of Soul 3, it said. The way it said the words made it clear that it thought humans were nothing more than insects. Your pathetic little world has been registered in our great database as new members of our galaxy. You must now pay tribute to your betters. Lee Hyun felt his hands turn into fists. The alien was treating Earth like it was some kind of farm that they owned, but the alien kept talking. And what it said next made everyone on the bridge angry. You will send us half of all the metal you dig from your ground every year. You will give us your best technology and your smartest scientists. You will also send us 1 million of your people to work in our mines and factories. The alien smiled, and its sharp teeth glittered. You have 30 of your Earth days to gather these things. If you do not obey, we will come and take everything by force. The transmission ended suddenly, leaving the bridge in complete silence. Everyone stared at the empty screen, not knowing what to say. Or do the alien had just demanded that Earth give away half of everything it had and also send 1 million people to be slaves? Park Mina was the first to find her voice again. Sir, they are treating us like we are animals that they can order around. Her face was red with anger. How dare they demand tribute from us? We are not their servants. Lee Hyun nodded slowly. He was thinking about his grandfather who had fought in the old wars to keep Earth free. His grandfather had always told him that freedom was not free and that sometimes good people had to fight to keep it. Now it seemed like that time had come again. Get me Admiral Kim Dae on the secure channel, he ordered. Tell him we need an emergency meeting with Earth's Defense Council right now. Also send a copy of this transmission to every military base on Earth and all our colonies. Everyone needs to see this while the crew work to send the messages. Lee Hyun stared out the window at the stars. He wondered how many other worlds had received the same message. How many had given up and sent their people to be slaves? How many had fought back on the farming colony of New Bisenyang? Engineer Choi Jin was working in the big greenhouse gardens when his tablet started beeping with an emergency message. He wiped the dirt from his hands and touched the screen to play the message. As he watched the alien make its demands, his face grew darker and darker. His parents had died fighting in the resource wars. When he was just a boy, they had died to keep Earth free and independent. Now some alien monster wanted to make Earth into a slave planet. Choi Jin threw his tablet down so hard it cracked. He looked around the greenhouse at all the food growing there, food that would feed thousands of families. Food that the aliens wanted to take away from Earth. His parents had not died so that aliens could steal everything humans had worked for. He picked up his tablet and sent a message to his sister who worked at the space docks. I just saw the alien message, he typed. We cannot let them do this to us. We have to fight back like our parents did back on Earth in the deep underground bunkers beneath the city of Seoul. Scientist Dr. Yu Hana was already studying the alien transmission with her team of experts. She had played the message 50 times and was looking at every detail. The aliens think they are so smart, she said to her assistants, but they made a mistake. They showed us their technology when they sent this message. Look at these energy readings. She pointed to numbers on her computer screen. Their ships use a lot of power, but the power comes from one main source. If we can find that source, we can hurt them. They also think we are stupid and weak. That is their biggest mistake. Dru Hannah had been studying alien technology ever since Earth had first detected radio signals from other worlds. She had always wondered what would happen if hostile aliens found Earth. Now she knew, and she was not afraid. She was angry. Send a message to all our research stations, she told her team. Tell them to start working on weapons that can fight these aliens. Tell them we have 30 days to get ready for war. Meanwhile, in space stations around Earth, other humans were getting the same message. Captain Song Min was on patrol near Mars. When the transmission reached his ship, he watched the alien make its demands, and then turned to his crew. Well, team, it looks like we have some uninvited guests who think they can push us around. His crew laughed, but it was not a happy laugh. What do you think we should do about that? His weapons officer, Corporal Bang Yoon, spoke up first. Sir, my grandmother always said that bullies only understand one thing: a good punch in the nose. I think these aliens need to learn that lesson. Song Min smiled. It was not a nice smile, but it was the kind of smile that said someone was about to have a very bad day. That is exactly what I was thinking. He said, start preparing our weapons and send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we are ready to show these aliens what happens when they threaten our home all across human space. The reaction was the same: anger, determination, and a refusal to bow down to bullies. The aliens had expected fear and surrender. Instead, they had awakened something they did not understand. They had awakened the fighting spirit of humanity on the space station. New Seoul Commander Han Jun was meeting with his officers when the alien message arrived. After watching it, he stood up and looked at each of his people in the As the aliens think we are weak, he said. They think we will just hand over our freedom without a fight. They are about to learn that they picked the wrong species to mess with. His officers nodded, and one of them asked, Sir, what are orders? Han Jun walked over to the window and looked out at Earth, shining blue and beautiful. In the distance, our orders are simple, he said. We protect our home. We protect our people, and we show these alien bullies that humans do not pay tribute to anyone. The Alien Council had sent their message, expecting quick obedience. Instead, they had done something they would soon regret. They had made humanity angry, and an angry human was something the galaxy had never seen before. The countdown had begun. 30 days until the aliens expected their tribute. 30 days for humanity to decide whether to surrender or fight, but for most humans the choice was already made. They would fight because that was what humans did when someone tried to take their freedom away. The aliens had made their first big mistake. They thought humans would be afraid. They were wrong. 3 days after the alien message arrived, Earth was ready with its answer. The answer was not what the aliens expected. Ambassador Lim Su stood in the communication center deep beneath Seoul, wearing her best diplomatic uniform, but her eyes were hard as steel. She had spent 2 days preparing for this moment, and she knew that what she said next would change everything. Behind her stood the leaders of Earth: Admiral Kim Dae, General Park So-young, President Cho Min-ki, and dozens of other important people. They all had serious faces because they knew this was the most important moment in human history. The transmission began, and suddenly Lim Su was looking at the Galaxy Council chamber. It was a huge room filled with hundreds of different alien species. Some looked like giant insects, others looked like walking plants, and some looked like nothing she had ever seen before. They were all staring at her with curious eyes. In the center of the chamber sat the four-armed alien who had made the demands. His name was Veltar, and he was clearly the leader. He looked at Lim Su like she was a bug that he wanted to step on. Human, the alien said in his metal voice, have you brought us word of your surrender? Do you have our tribute ready? Lim Su smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. I am Ambassador Lim Su, speaking for all of humanity, she said. Her voice was calm and strong. We have reviewed your demands very carefully, and we have reached a decision. The Alien Council leaned forward, waiting to hear about Earth sending them metals, technology, and people, but what they heard instead made them all sit back in shock. Our answer is no, she said simply. We will not send you tribute. We will not send you our people. We will not bow down to bullies, no matter how big they think they are. The chamber exploded in noise. Aliens were shouting and clicking and making all kinds of angry sounds. They had never heard any species refuse their demands, not once in 1,000 years. Veltar raised all four of his arms to make everyone quiet. When the noise stopped, he stared at Lim Su with his glowing red eyes. You dare defy the mighty Galaxy Council? We have crushed 1,000 worlds. We have made slaves of entire species. What makes you think Your tiny planet can stand against us. Lim Su took a step forward. Her smile got bigger and colder. Then you have never met humans before, she said. We do not surrender, we do not bow down, and we certainly do not pay tribute to bullies who threaten our families. She paused and looked around the chamber at all the alien faces. Some looked angry, but others looked curious. Few even looked hopeful, like they wished they could say no to the council too. Instead of paying tribute, we have a counter offer for you, she continued. Leave our space immediately. Stop threatening us and leave us alone. You have 7 Earth days to complete. The entire chamber burst into laughter. Aliens were holding their sides and making wheezing sounds. Some were laughing so hard they fell out of their chairs. The idea that humans could threaten the mighty Galaxy Council was the funniest thing they had ever heard, but their laughter stopped very quickly when Lim Su played her next cardo. And Veltar, she said sweetly. That secret military base you have hidden in the Proxima system, we destroyed it this morning. Consider it a friendly warning. The laughter died instantly. Every alien in the chamber stared at her in shock. The Proxima base was their most secret facility. How did these primitive humans even know it existed? And how could they have destroyed it? Veltar jumped to his feet, all 4 arms waving. Impossible, he screamed. Our sensors showed nothing. Our defenses are perfect. You are lying. Lim Su touched a button on her wrist device and a hologram appeared showing the smoking ruins of the alien base. Here is the proof, she said. The base that took you 50 years to build, we erased it in 20 minutes. The chamber fell silent. Everyone was staring at the hologram of their destroyed base. How had the humans done this? How had they found it? How had they gotten past all the defenses? We also took the liberty of visiting 11 other military installations of yours, Lim Su continued. Each one is now a pile of scrap metal. Your mighty fleet is not as mighty as you thought. Behind the scenes on Earth, Admiral Kim Day was watching the alien faces through hidden cameras. He smiled as he saw fear creeping into their eyes. Phase 1 complete, he whispered to his staff. They are scared and confused. Time for Phase 2. The truth was that Earth had been preparing for this moment ever since they first learned that aliens existed. Dr. Yuhana and her team had spent years studying alien technology from crashed ships and intercepted signals. They had learned how alien shields worked, how their weapons functioned, and most importantly, where their secret bases were located. Captain Li Han had led the secret mission to destroy the alien bases. His ships had used new stealth technology that made them invisible to alien sensors. They had struck fast and hard, leaving nothing but wreckage behind. The aliens in the council chamber were still trying to understand what had happened when Lim Su delivered her final message. We know about your other bases too, she said. We know about your supply lines, your troop movements, and your weaknesses. Yes, you heard correctly. Your weaknesses, every bully has them, and we found yours. She looked directly at Veltar. You thought we were primitive and stupid. That was your first mistake. You thought we would be scared of you. That was your second mistake. Your third mistake was threatening our home. Veltar was shaking with rage. How dare you attack US? We will send our entire fleet to crush your pathetic world. We will turn your planet into dust. Lim Su laughed, and the sound made several aliens step backwards. You can try, she said. But remember what happened to your secret bases. Now imagine what will happen to your fleet when it arrives at Earth. She leaned forward and her voice became very quiet. We have had centuries to practice war against each other. Now we get to practice on you. Thank you for volunteering to be our target practice. The transmission ended, leaving the Galaxy Council in complete chaos. Alarms were going off as reports came in from across their territory. Human ships had appeared out of nowhere, attacking military bases, supply depots, and communication stations. 12 major installations had been destroyed in perfect coordinated strikes on the alien world of Kethpron. General Zextal was receiving panicked reports from his commanders. Sir, we have lost contact with the Proxima base, the Centauri supply depot, and 9 other facilities. Our ships cannot find the attackers. Our sensors cannot track them. What kind of weapons are these humans using back on Earth? In the command center beneath Seoul, Admiral Kim Day was coordinating the next phase of attacks. Captain Song Min report, he said into his communicator. Sir, we have successfully hit all primary targets. Song Min replied from his ship near Jupiter. Our stealth systems worked perfectly. The aliens never saw us coming and they cannot track us now. Excellent. Admiral Kim Day said. Lieutenant Bang Yoon, what is the status of our manufacturing? All Factories are now producing war materials, she reported from the industrial complex. We have converted every civilian factory to military production we can build. Weapons faster than they can replace what we destroyed. Yuhana looked up from her computer screens. Admiral, the alien communication networks are in chaos. They are pulling ships from Border Patrol to protect their core worlds. This is exactly what we wanted. The aliens had expected Earth to surrender within days. Instead, they had awakened something they did not understand. They had awakened humanity at war, and humans at war were something the galaxy had never seen before. The Galaxy Council had ruled through fear for 1,000 years. They had never faced a species that fought back with such skill and determination. Now they were learning what happened when bullies picked on someone who could fight back. The countdown continued. 27 days until the alien deadline, but now the aliens were not sure they wanted to wait that long. They were starting to realize they had made a terrible mistake. They had threatened the wrong species. What the aliens did not understand was that humans had been getting ready for this day for many years, ever since Earth first detected radio signals from other worlds. The military had been making secret plans. They had asked themselves one simple question: what would happen if hostile aliens found Earth? Now they knew the answer, and they were ready. Colonel Song Min led his squadron of 50 fighter ships deep into alien space. His ships were small compared to the huge alien vessels, but they were fast and almost impossible to see. The human engineers had taken alien technology and made it better in ways the aliens never thought possible. Remember, Team Song Min told his pilots over the radio, "We are not trying to fight fair, we are trying to win, period. Hit them hard, hit them fast, and get out before they know what happened." The human ships moved like ghosts through space. They appeared from nowhere, struck their targets, and vanished before the aliens could fight back. Traditional alien sensors could not track them, their weapons could not lock onto the human ships, and their shields could not stop the strange new projectiles that humans were using. Lieutenant Kang Mi was piloting her fighter through an asteroid field where the aliens had hidden a supply base. She watched through her scope as the alien ships tried to find her. It was like watching blind people try to catch lightning. Target lock, she whispered, and fired her new plasma torpedo. The weapon struck the alien base, and the explosion lit up the entire asteroid field. Another alien stronghold was gone. Meanwhile, on the industrial world of New Seoul Factory, Supervisor Bang Yoon was working day and night to produce more weapons. The entire planet had converted to war production in just 5 days. Every civilian factory, every manufacturing plant, every workshop was now making tools of war. The aliens think we are simple and backward, she told her workers as they assembled another batch of missiles. Let us show them what human industry can do when we are angry. My grandfather built ships during the old wars. Now we build weapons to protect our freedom. Her workers cheered and went back to their tasks with renewed energy. They were working 18-hour shifts, but nobody complained. Everyone knew that Earth was counting on them. The aliens wanted tribute, but instead they were going to get human-made explosives delivered at high speed aboard. The alien flagship Dominator Fleet Commander Zex Tal was receiving increasingly desperate reports from across his territory. "Sir, we have lost contact with 17 more outposts," the communications officer reported. "Our ships cannot catch the human vessels. Our weapons cannot hit them. What are these creature sheks?" Tal looked at the holographic display showing his fleet positions. Red marks indicated destroyed bases and missing ships. The humans were cutting through his forces like a knife through paper. How was this possible? The aide standing next to him was a nervous creature with tentacles instead of arms. "Commander," he whispered so the crew could not hear. "Some of the officers are saying that the humans are not just fighting us. They are hunting us like we are prey." Zex Tal felt a chill run down his spine. He had been a warrior for 200 years and had conquered dozens of worlds, but he had never faced an enemy like this. The humans fought with a savagery and cleverness that terrified his experienced soldiers. "Get me a direct channel to the Galaxy Council," he ordered. "I need to report that we are dealing with something we have never seen before." Dr. Yuhana had been right about the alien weakness. Their ships were powerful, but they were also predictable. The aliens had been winning wars for so long that they had forgotten how to adapt. Human tactics developed through centuries of fighting other humans were chaotic and unpredictable by alien standards. "Captain, OJ commanded a human cruiser called the Ancient Destroyer. He was leading his ship through alien patrol routes, destroying supply convoys and communication relays. The aliens kept trying to set traps for him, but human intuition and experience made their plans useless, sir. We have another alien convoy on sensors. His weapons officer reported 6 cargo ships with 4 escort fighters. OJ smiled. Standard attack pattern, he ordered. Hit the escorts first, then destroy the cargo ships. Leave no survivors to report back to their commanders. The battle lasted less than 10 minutes. When it was over, 6 more alien ships were floating wreckage and the convoy route was completely cut. The aliens would have to find another way to supply their forward bases, if they had any forward bases left back on Earth. Admiral Kim Day was coordinating the overall war effort from his command center deep underground. The walls were covered with displays showing human ship positions, alien fleet movements, and battle reports from across the galaxy. Phase 2 is proceeding perfectly, he told President Cho Min-ki, who had come to observe the operations. We have destroyed over 60 alien military installations and cut their main supply lines. Their fleet commanders are panicking and making mistakes. President Cho Min-ki nodded as he watched the displays. It was hard to believe that just 1 week ago the aliens had demanded tribute from Earth. Now they were the ones running scared. How many ships have we lost? He asked. Admiral Kim Day smiled proudly. Only 3 ships, sir, and all crew members were rescued. The aliens cannot hit what they cannot see, and they cannot understand tactics they have never encountered before. The truth was that human military doctrine was completely different from anything the Galaxy Council had ever faced. The aliens fought big, formal battles with massive fleets. Human commanders preferred small, fast strikes that caused maximum damage with minimum risk. Sergeant Major Lim Hana was leading a boarding party onto a captured alien space station. Her team of Marines moved through the corridors like they owned the place. The alien defenders had surrendered without much of a fight. Search everything, she ordered her troops. Look for intelligence, data, weapons, technology, anything that might be useful, and remember, we treat prisoners with respect, even if they are alien bullies. One of her Marines, Corporal Park Day, found a computer terminal that was still working. Sergeant, I think this contains information about alien fleet positions and base locations. Perfect, Lim Hana said. Download everything and prepare it for transmission to Earth Command. The more we know about their operations, the easier it will be to shut them down. What made the human war effort so effective was not just their technology or tactics, it was their attitude. Every human involved in the fight, from the fighter pilots to the factory workers, understood that they were fighting for their freedom and the freedom of their families. That gave them a motivation that the alien mercenaries and conscripts could not match. Commander Han Jun was leading his squadron on a deep strike mission against an alien communication hub. His ships had traveled for 3 days through hyperspace to reach their target. The base was supposed to be heavily defended, but when they arrived, they found it almost empty. Looks like they pulled most of their ships back to protect more important targets. Han Jun observed. This is working better than we hoped. They are so scared of our attacks that they are abandoning their outer positions. His wingman, Lieutenant Yun Su, asked, Sir, what are our orders for the return trip? Han Jun looked at his star charts. There are 2 more alien bases along our route home, he said. Let's visit them too. I am sure they would love to meet some humans. The aliens had made a fundamental mistake when they demanded tribute from Earth. They had assumed that humans would react like every other species they had conquered, with fear and submission. Instead, they had awakened something that the galaxy had never seen before. They had awakened humanity at war, and humans at war were learning that they were very, very good at it. News of the human attacks spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Every species that had been forced to pay tribute to the Galaxy Council was hearing the same incredible story. A small world called Earth had said no to the Council and was actually winning the fight on the trading station Kepler Prime. Alien merchants huddled together in small groups, whispering about the humans. Some were scared, others were excited, and a few were starting to hope that maybe their own worlds could be free someday. Captain OJ walked through the market areas of the station and noticed how conversations stopped when aliens saw him coming. They stared at this human with mixtures of fear, curiosity, and something that looked like respect. He was just buying supplies for his ship, but the aliens acted like he was some kind of legendary warrior. Your reputation goes before you, said Kith Era. A long-time alien trader who had always been friendly to humans the whole galaxy is talking about. Your people's war against the Council, is it true that you destroyed the Proxima base in 20 minutes, so? Jay shrugged like it was no big deal. 20 minutes was longer than we wanted, he said, but the base had more defenses than we expected. We are getting faster, though. The last 3 bases only took 10 minutes each. Kif Era made a sound that might have been laughter or might have been fear. You humans are either very brave or very crazy, maybe both. How can you fight the entire Galaxy Council? Oh. Jay looked around the market at all the different alien species buying and selling goods. Many of them looked tired and beaten down, like they had given up hope long ago. It is not really a war, he said quietly. It is pest control. We are just removing some bullies who got too big for their spacesuits. But the real shock came when other species began secretly helping the humans. The Velnari had been paying tribute for 300 years, and they still remembered what freedom felt like. They started sending coded messages to Earth with information about Council fleet movements and base locations. The Crystalline Shard Ek were master miners who had been forced to give most of their precious metals to the Council. Now they began smuggling rare materials to human ships, materials that made human weapons even more deadly than before. Even some Council member species began questioning their loyalty. General Torvak of the insectoid hive mind species called a secret meeting with his top officers. We have served the Council for 4 centuries, he said, his mandibles clicking nervously. But these humans have shown us something we forgot. It is possible to say no. It is possible to fight back. His second-in-command Colonel Zek Null spoke carefully. Sir, are you suggesting that we should rebel against the Council? General Torvak looked around the room at his officers. These were good soldiers who had followed orders without question for their entire lives, but now doubt was creeping into their minds. I am saying that maybe it is time to remember that we chose to join the Council originally, he said. They did not conquer us. We volunteered. Now I wonder if we made the right choice. Back in the Galaxy Council chambers, panic was setting. Veltar paced back and forth with all 4 arms waving as he received report after report of rebellion and defiance. This is happening too fast, he screamed at his advisors. One world cannot cause this much chaos. But the truth was becoming clear. The Council's power had always been based on fear, and the idea that resistance was impossible. The humans had shattered that idea completely. Now every oppressed species in the galaxy was watching to see what would happen next. Intelligence reports were coming in from across Council space. The Zephyrian Trading Guild had stopped sending their monthly tribute. The crystal farmers of Beta 7 had declared their independence. 3 entire star systems had announced they were no longer part of the Council. How is this possible? Veltar demanded. We have ruled this galaxy for 1,000 years. How can one small species destroy everything we built? His chief advisor, a snake-like creature called Sistek, hissed nervously. The humans have done more than just attack our bases, sir. They have given hope to species that had forgotten what hope felt like. Every world that pays tribute is now wondering if they could fight back too. On the mining world of Dracos 5, the local population had worked in Council mines for 200 years. They dug precious metals out of the ground and sent them to Council worlds while their own people lived in poverty. But now everything was changing. Foreman Graltak was a big, heavy alien who looked like a walking boulder. He had supervised the mines for 50 years and had never questioned the system, but today he stood in front of his workers with a different message. Brothers and sisters, he said in his deep rumbling voice, the humans have shown us that the Council is not as strong as we thought. They have destroyed Council bases and fought Council fleets, and they are winning. His workers muttered among themselves. They had heard the stories, but it was hard to believe that anyone could stand up to the mighty Council. What are you saying, Foreman? Asked one of the miners. Are you saying we should stop working, Gro? Tak looked around at the faces of his people. These were good, hard-working beings who deserved better than a life of slavery. I'm saying that maybe it is time we worked for ourselves instead of for the Council. The humans call it freedom. Maybe we should try it on. Earth Intelligence Officer Nam Yoon was monitoring alien communications from the listening post on Luna. She sat in front of dozens of screens showing intercepted messages from across the galaxy, and what she saw made her smile. Admiral Kim. Day, sir, she reported over the communication link. We are detecting massive troop movements across Council space. They are pulling forces from their outer territories to protect their core worlds. Their empire is starting to collapse from the inside. Admiral Kimday leaned back in his chair with satisfaction. This is better than we hoped, he said. The humans had planned to fight the council directly, but they had not expected their rebellion to inspire so many other species. How many systems have declared independence? He asked. Nam Yun checked her screens. 43 so far, sir, and the number is growing every hour. The council is losing control of entire sectors. Some of their own member species are starting to question their loyalty. The human strategy was working perfectly. They had not just attacked council military targets, they had attacked the idea that the council was unbeatable. Every successful strike, every destroyed base, every captured facility proved that the council could be defeated. Captain Song Min was returning from another successful raid when he received a surprising message. His ship was passing near the Altair system when a transmission came from the planet below. Human ship, this is Governor Weltak of Altair 3. We have heard of your people's fight against the council. We want to help. How can we assist your war effort? Song Min looked at his communications officer with surprise. Lieutenant Park, what do you think? Should we trust them? Lieutenant Park Yun was studying the alien transmission. So their planet has been paying tribute to the council for 150 years. If they are willing to help us, it means they want their freedom back. Song Min made his decision. This is Captain Song Min of the Earth Defense Force. He transmitted back to the planet. We accept your offer of help. Do you have information about council ship movements in your sector? The reply came back immediately. Yes, Captain, we have been forced to track council ships for taxation purposes. We can provide you with complete fleet schedules and base locations. This was happening all across the galaxy. Species that had been silent for centuries were suddenly finding their voices. They were offering help, information, and even military support to the human rebellion. The council had created their own worst nightmare, a galaxy-wide uprising. The humans had done something that nobody thought was possible. They had not just fought back against the council. They had inspired others to believe that freedom was possible. And once that idea started spreading, there was no way to stop it. The galaxy council was learning a hard lesson. Empires built on fear and oppression could fall very quickly once people stopped being afraid. The humans had lit a fire that was spreading across the stars, and that fire was called hope. The Galaxy Council had enough. They were losing control of their empire, and their reputation was being destroyed by a single small world. Their response was swift and brutal. They gathered the largest war fleet in galactic history, 10,000 ships, carrying weapons that could destroy entire planets, all of them heading toward one target, Earth Fleet. Admiral Park So Young stood on the bridge of Earth's newest dreadnought, the ancient hammer, watching the approaching alien armada through the viewscreen. The enemy fleet was so big it looked like a moving cloud of metal and death coming to destroy humanity's homeworld around her. The human fleet looked tiny by comparison. 300 ships against 10,000. The odds were more than 30 to 1, and everyone knew it, but nobody on the bridge looked scared. They looked determined. All ships, this is Admiral Park, she announced over the fleet communication channel. Today we fight not just for Earth, but for every species that dreams of freedom. The whole galaxy is watching us show them what happens when someone threatens humanity's home. The alien fleet approached slowly and confidently. Their commanders thought this would be an easy victory. They had overwhelming numbers and weapons that had conquered 1,000 worlds. How could a few hundred human ships stand against them? But as the alien ships entered the solar system, they flew into something they had never experienced before. The space around Earth had been transformed into the galaxy's deadliest maze. Hidden weapons platforms disguised as asteroids suddenly came alive with deadly fire. Mines that looked like harmless space debris exploded with devastating force. Communication satellites turned out to be missile launchers that filled space with deadly projectiles. Commander Han Jun was piloting his fighter through the chaos, and he could not help but grin as he watched alien ships trying to avoid the hidden traps. My grandmother always said we were too stubborn to know when to quit, he said over the radio. Guess she was right. The human ships themselves fought with a ferocity that shocked the alien commanders. They did not fight in neat formations like civilized species. Instead, they swarmed and struck and vanished like angry wasps. Every human pilot seemed to have a personal grudge against the invaders. Captain Li Haini was commanding the cruiser Soul Pride when a group of alien battleships tried to break through toward Earth. He positioned his ship directly in their path even though he was outnumbered 5-1. "This is as far as you go," he announced over an open channel. "You want to reach Earth, you go through us first." His crew cheered as they opened fire with every weapon they had. The alien ships were bigger and more heavily armed, but the humans fought with a desperate courage that made up for the difference. But the real surprise came when the alien fleet found itself surrounded. Rebel fleets from dozens of species emerged from hyperspace. All around the solar system, the hunters had become the hunted. The Velnari brought their fast attack ships, the Shard Ek contributed their heavy cruisers, the insectoid hive mind species arrived with carriers full of fighter craft. Even former council members had joined the rebellion. Captain OJ was leading a mixed squadron of human and alien rebel ships against the council fleet. It was strange fighting alongside species that had been enemies just months before, but they all shared the same Goal. Freedom alien rebel ship. "This is Captain OJ, he called to his wingman, who was flying a Velnari fighter. "Stay close and follow my lead. We are going after that command ship." The Velnari pilot responded in broken English. "Will follow human. Captain, we fight together for freedom." The battle raged across the entire solar system. Human and rebel ships struck from every direction while the massive alien fleet tried to fight back. But the council forces had never faced anything like this coordinated attack. They were used to fighting single planets, not entire coalitions. Sergeant Major Kong Mi was leading a boarding party onto the alien flagship Dominator. Her Marines had blasted through the hull and were fighting their way toward the bridge. The alien crew was panicking because they had never been boarded before. Move, she shouted to her troops. "We need to reach the command center before they can destroy their computers." The fighting was fierce, but the human Marines had trained for this moment. They moved through the alien ship like they had been born for combat. Every corridor, every doorway was cleared with professional efficiency. When they finally reached the bridge, they found Fleet Commander Zextal trying to destroy the navigation computers. Kang Mi stunned him with her weapon before he could finish. As she placed restraints on the alien commander, she looked him in the eyes. "Next time you want to demand tribute, try asking nicely," she said. The battle for Earth lasted 18 hours and ended with the complete destruction of the Council invasion fleet. Some alien ships tried to surrender, others tried to flee, but very few escaped the combined human and rebel forces. On the bridge of the Incheon Hammer, Admiral Park, so young, watched the last Council ships retreating in panic. The space around Earth was filled with wreckage, but Earth itself was safe. Her people had won the greatest victory in human history. "All ships, this is Admiral Park," she announced. "The invasion fleet is defeated, Earth is safe, and the galaxy is free." Cheers echoed across every human ship and every rebel vessel. They had done the impossible. They had defeated the mighty Galaxy Council and liberated themselves and dozens of other species. But even as they celebrated, Admiral Park was thinking about the future. The old council was broken, but something new would have to take its place. The galaxy needed peace, but it also needed freedom. How could they build something better? On the captured alien flagship, Veltar himself was brought before Admiral Park in chains. The four-armed alien who had started this war by demanding tribute now looked small and defeated. "You have destroyed everything we built," he said bitterly. "Our empire lasted 1,000 years." Admiral Park looked at him with a mixture of pity and determination. "Your empire was built on fear and slavery," she said. "That is why it fell so easily. Real strength comes from people who choose to work together, not from those who are forced to obey. We could have given you a place in our galaxy if you had asked nicely," she continued. "But you chose to be bullies instead. Now you get to learn what happens when bullies pick on the wrong people." The victory celebration lasted for days, but Admiral Park knew that the real work was just beginning. They had won the war, but now they had to win the peace. The galaxy was full of species that wanted freedom, but did not know how to build it. Captain Song Min brought her a report from the Intelligence Division. "Admiral, we are receiving messages from over 200 worlds, asking for help in establishing their own governments. They want to be free, but they need guidance." Admiral Park smiled. It looked like humanity had a new job. They would not be conquerors like the old council. Instead, they would be teachers showing the galaxy how to build a better future. The war was over, but the real adventure was just beginning. The Battle of Seoul was over, but the real work was just beginning. Admiral Park, so young, stood in what used to be the Galaxy Council chamber, but now it looked very different. Instead of alien overlords Demanding tribute, there were representatives from hundreds of species, all talking together as equals. Ambassador Lim Su walked to the center of the Great Hall. She was wearing the same diplomatic uniform she had worn when she first defied the council, but now she carried herself differently. She was no longer speaking for a small world trying to survive. She was speaking for a new vision of what the galaxy could become. Friends and fellow beings, she began, the old council is gone forever, but we are not here to replace one empire with another. We are here to build something that has never existed before. A galaxy where every species has a voice, where every world chooses its own path. The assembled representatives listened carefully. These were beings who had lived under council rule for generations. They had never imagined that things could be different. Now they were learning what freedom meant. We propose a new way forward. Lim Su continued, no more tribute, no more forced labor, no more bullying. Every species gets to vote on decisions that affect them. Every world gets to keep what it produces. Every being gets to choose their own future. A representative from the crystal mining world of Zarian stood up. His people had been slaves for 300 years. Ambassador Lim Su, he said in a voice that shook with emotion, my people do not know how to be free. We have forgotten what it means to make our own choices. Lim Su smiled gently. That is why we are all here together, she said. We will learn from each other. The humans did not know how to fight a galactic empire until we had to. We will figure out freedom the same way together. The vote was held that same day, and the result was overwhelming. 237 worlds voted to join the new galactic alliance. Only 12 voted to keep the old system. Most of those were former Council core worlds that had profited from the tribute system on Earth. President Cho Min-ki addressed his people from the steps of the Capitol building in Seoul. Behind him stood the leaders of the military effort, Admiral Park So-young, Admiral Kim Dae, Captain Song-min, and dozens of others who had made victory possible. My fellow humans, he said, today we took our place among the stars, not as conquerors but as liberators. We showed the galaxy that freedom is worth fighting for and that bullies only have power when good people do nothing. The crowd that had gathered to hear him speak cheered loudly. These were people who had worked in factories building weapons, who had served on ships fighting impossible odds, who had kept Earth running while their defenders were away at war. They had all played a part in the victory, but President Cho Min-ki was not finished. We did not fight this war to rule the galaxy, he continued. We fought it to free the galaxy. Now we have a new responsibility. We must help other worlds learn what we have always known. That freedom is not given, it is earned, and it must be protected. Every day the celebration lasted for weeks, but the serious work of building a new galaxy began immediately. Captain O.J. found himself appointed as the first human ambassador to the Vel Nari homeworld. His job was to help them establish their own democratic government. The Vel Nari had been paying tribute for so long they had forgotten how to make decisions for themselves. Captain O.J. worked with their leaders to organize their first free elections in centuries. You humans have given us something we thought was lost forever, said Elder Kith Era, as they watched Vel Nari citizens voting for the first time. You have given us hope. Commander Han Jun was assigned to help the former mining slaves of Dracos 5. His job was more difficult because those people had been treated so badly. They did not trust anyone who claimed to want to help them. It took months of patient work, but eventually the miners began to believe that their lives could be better. They formed their own government and elected Foreman Grol Tak as their first president. Dr. Yuhana found herself leading a team of scientists from dozens of species working together to share technology. The old council had kept scientific knowledge secret to maintain their advantage. Now information flowed freely between worlds. The results were amazing. New medical treatments were developed in months instead of decades. Clean energy systems were shared with primitive worlds. Transportation improved dramatically as different species contributed their best ideas, but the most important change was in the attitudes of ordinary beings across the galaxy. For the first time in 1,000 years, people believed that tomorrow could be better than today. Lieutenant Park Mina was serving as a communications officer on the new Alliance flagship when she received a message that made her smile. It was from a young alien student on a world that had just joined the Alliance. Human friend, the message said, my name is Zilpak and I am 8 years old, my teacher says. That before the humans came to our galaxy, children like me could never dream of being anything except tribute payers. Now she says I can be anything I want when I grow up, even a starship captain like you. I want to say thank you for giving me dreams messages. Like that arrived every day from across the galaxy. Children who had been born into slavery were now learning to read and write. Species that had been forced to work in mines were developing art and music worlds that had been stripped of resources. Were beginning to heal. The transformation was not always easy. Some former council worlds tried to restart the old system in their local regions. They were quickly stopped by Alliance forces, but the real victory came when their own people rose up and demanded freedom. Captain Li Haiyan was leading a patrol mission near the former Council Core worlds when he received a distress call from the planet Regulus Prime. The local governor was trying to force the population back into tribute slavery. When Li Haiyan arrived with his ships, he found something wonderful. The people of Regulus Prime had already freed themselves. They had followed the human example and fought for their own freedom. We did not need you to save us, Captain, the local leader told him with pride. We saved ourselves just like you taught us. Years passed and the galaxy continued to change. The Alliance grew larger and stronger, but it remained true to its founding principles. Every world that joined did so by choice. Every species maintained its independence. Every being had rights that could not be taken away. Old veterans of the war would gather in space stations and tell stories of the great battles. They would remember friends who had died fighting for freedom, and they would toast to the future they had helped create. But perhaps the most important legacy was something that could not be seen or measured. It was the knowledge that had spread to every corner of the galaxy, the knowledge that freedom was possible, that bullies could be defeated, and that ordinary people could change the course of history. Children across the galaxy learned about the humans who had said no to the Galaxy Council. They learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the decision to do what was right despite the fear. They learned that sometimes the smallest voice could change everything if it was brave enough to speak the truth. And in the quiet moments between the stars, when veteran spacers gathered to share stories, they would always end with the same words, the words that had become humanity's gift to the galaxy. We do not pay tribute. We are the tribute to freedom itself. The galaxy had learned that lesson well, and it would never forget.